Hi everyone, welcome to DIY with Nancy. Hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to make one of my favorite queijadas, and that's queijadas de feijão. Queijadas de feijão is a bean, I wouldn't say cupcake, but it's like almost like a bean tart. But they look like little cupcakes. You make them in these little tins. Super delicious, super moist inside. It's not a dry queijada. It's a very popular queijada in the Portuguese heritage as well. And they're so worth making. And I hope you're gonna watch the recipe and how I make queijadas de feijão step by step. Let's get to baking. I'm using white kidney beans for the queijadas de feijão. I'm going to show you exactly what I use. So I have here a can of 540 milliliters, which is 19 ounces, including the feijão and the liquid, feijão branco, white kidney beans. So that's one can of 540 milliliters of white kidney beans and the liquid. Next, using the food processor, I'm going to puree the beans and the liquid for about 45 seconds until I have no chunks on my beans and it's almost like a liquid puree. That's the texture you're looking for, which of course I'm going to show you. After 45 seconds, the bean puree is ready. And here is the texture. Slightly thick and creamy. Next, I'm placing 1 3/4 cups of sugar in a medium-sized saucepan. To that, I'm adding the feijão that I pureed earlier. In the can, I have half a cup of water. And to that, I'm adding half a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. Stir it together. You have the sugar at the bottom. You just want to make sure it's all incorporated. And make sure you have your stove turned on a low to medium heat. Next, I'm adding 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. So the dry ingredients, I'm starting off with the cornstarch and just pouring that in there. And next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and 1 lemon peel. Place that in there, stir it together, incorporate all the ingredients in the saucepan. Now, using a whisk, I'm going to whisk all the ingredients together in the saucepan. Make sure my heat is on low heat, and I'm just going to make sure it's all well combined before I add my next ingredients. Next, I'm adding a pinch of salt. Throw that in there. And 8 egg yolks. I have one that fell apart there, but I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm gonna mix them all up. They're all gonna end up that way anyway before I place it into the saucepan. Pour it in. Now the mixture is lukewarm. It's on low heat. That's 8 egg yolks. And next I'm going to add 2 whole eggs. At this point, turn your stove to a medium heat. Mix the eggs into the liquid mixture, and at this point you want to stay by the stove, constantly stir until it comes to a thick consistency. I've been stirring for about 5 minutes. It will take about 8 to 10 minutes before you reach your thick consistency. Now that the feijão mixture has thickened, I can now turn off the heat. Next, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Stir the vanilla in, the feijão mixture. Now I'm going to let the feijão mixture sit here for a few minutes while I prepare the molds. Next, I'm going to prepare the tart molds with butter and flour. So I'm going to butter and flour the tart molds. Now to spread the butter evenly, I'm using a pastry brush. You can use your hands, but make sure that it's spread evenly through the tart mold. And here I'm dusting all-purpose flour into all the tart molds. To place the queijadas de feijão in the oven, I'm using a baking sheet with parchment paper. And here I have excess flour in each of the molds, and I'm just removing it by slightly tapping it, just like that. Next, I'm going to place the feijão mixture into the forms. Now I've placed it in a cup. It's just easier for me to pour into each of the forms without making a mess. And I'm using a spoon to fill it 3/4 full.
Next, I'm going to gently tap the form on the counter and even out the mixture in the forms. And that's all I'm doing here before I place it in the oven. And you want to ensure the oven is preheated at 375 degrees. The queijadas de feijão now ready to go into the oven. I'm going to bake them at 375 degrees for 45 minutes. My queijadas de feijão are out of the oven and they look absolutely perfect. Lightly golden brown all the way around. And for the last step, I'm gently dusting some icing sugar onto the queijadas de feijão. Ensure that your queijadas de feijão have completely cooled before placing the icing sugar. The queijadas de feijão are ready to be served. Now let's take a look inside. This is such a beautiful color on this queijada, and I'm going to break it in half. See how moist this queijada de feijão is. Absolutely delicious.
Okay everyone, my recipe for the queijadas de feijão, here they are. Super moist, this queijada. It's not a dry queijada inside. Delicious, and as you can see, it's not difficult to make at all. So I had them in the oven at 375 degrees for about 45 minutes. Now, the oven may vary. It could be more or less. It could be 45 minutes. It could be 50, anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes, depending on your oven. So just hit it at a 45-minute mark just to see what it's like, and then check on them. They're ready. You know, just put a skewer in there and you can see if it comes out clean. The queijada is ready. So, one more thing, these little tins. I know a lot of you have asked me. I make my pastéis de nata in these tins. I bought them at a local butcher shop. They have this section for baked items like trays and cupcake tins, etc. But you can buy it online on Amazon. So they do sell these. And this recipe makes 20 queijadas de feijão. I hope you all enjoy the recipe. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.